excited to give y'all a little bit of a rundown over what I've been doing for about the past year now. As you heard, I am Jessica Greene. I'm the Energy Outreach Coordinator with the Virginia Department of Energy, and I've been working on Virginia Energy Connect. So I will run through giving an overview of what exactly Virginia Energy Connect, or you'll hear me say VEConnect, what that is. I'll give you a bit of a preview of the website, go over some of the different programs that are accompanied with it, and can I let you know what we see as our next steps. And then I should have some time for questions if you should have any. This is a video. If it doesn't play, that's all right. I don't hear that.
Yeah, I'm not getting audio.
Okay, well, I will send these slides out afterwards and then can make sure that link is there. So sorry about that, but it's just given an overview of what I'm going to say anyway. So Virginia Energy Connect, this came about because after talking with stakeholders for a while, we were hearing about the need to have the clean energy incentives for Virginians all in one place. There were quite a few out there, but no one really knew where to go to find them all, or if they knew about them, they weren't sure where to go to actually access them. So we started working on creating a website, which would be a one-stop shop to house all of these clean energy incentives. And so that's what Virginia Energy Connect has come to be. And so it's increasing Virginia's use of available incentives for energy improvements that can lower users' energy bills, improve their home comfort, enhance grid resilience, and just be a part of Virginia's overall strategy for an affordable, reliable, and clean energy system. And so it's a curated hub for these clean energy incentives. We've tried to keep it nice and simple so it's not overwhelming, and it's focused on Virginia's residents and businesses. And it's an action-oriented website, but it's also dedicated outreach through our Energy Ambassador program, which I'll talk a bit more about, and ongoing stakeholder engagement for marketing, education, and outreach. So for the target audience, like I said, homeowners, so we wanted, or residents, so we wanted to make sure that both homeowners and renters were part of the target, as well as multi-family property owners, businesses, residential serving contractors, and installers. Some of the different pages, there's a link to the website here, and I encourage you to go explore it. But some of the main pages are for the homeowners, for renters and businesses, property owners, all of the target audience I had mentioned. We also have a page explaining the Energy Ambassador program. There's an FAQ, a page on consumer protection. And then one of the things we were most excited about launching was the incentives browser. So this is a customizable tool that a user can go in, select their locality, household size, income bracket, and your utility provider, and you're able to get a curated list of incentives that you are likely eligible for. Definitely want to say that none of this information is being recorded or stored. Your information is remaining anonymous. And all of this came about late July of this year. It's when we launched it as our soft launch, and then had kind of our main rollout in early October. And again, we see this as more than just a website. It is this ongoing marketing, education, and outreach campaign. Part of that is a quarterly newsletter that we put out called Current Connections. I'll make sure that the sign up link is available to you all if you're interested. That's one of the best ways to stay up to date on any of the clean energy programs or incentives that we at Virginia Energy are launching, or it will spotlight other ones that others like utility providers or localities are offering as well. And as I had mentioned before, the Energy Ambassador Program, this is where we're training community experts to help businesses and residents navigate this platform, and to help them figure out which incentives might be the best fit for them. And I'll get a little bit more into that. But we've gotten a couple of questions over the past months about, like Virginia Energy Sense had something kind of similar, at least in terms of like energy education. So why this? Is it a competing resource? And we really see Virginia Energy Connect being a complementary resource to a lot of the existing tools and content that are out there. We are rolling out a phase 2 launch pretty soon, which I will talk more about in a few slides from now. But we have like Virginia Energy Sense and a lot of other different organizations or resources even linked in Virginia Energy Connect. So we see it as very complementary, especially for Virginia Energy Sense. They provide great kind of starting point of that energy education. What is energy efficiency? What are some of the benefits and technologies? And we see Virginia Energy Connect being that next step. Once you know about it or that there are clean energy incentives, this is the place where you'll go to figure out what exactly are the incentives and which ones would be best for me or for my family. So for our energy ambassadors, we see them at the bottom of the pyramid for being one of the main ways that people are introduced to this resource, to the website itself. So they'll be the established community members providing overviews of these incentives and directing users to go to the website. They aren't handling any of the personal information. They might help a user input their information in the incentives browser to see that eligibility list, but they're not actually collecting any personal details. They're not running an energy audit or anything. We really see this as just the people who already have connections within their communities, just spreading the word that this tool is out there. Otherwise, we're working hard to promote the website on our end. So that'll be another way that people are able to hear about these incentives, doing events like this, and just really getting the name out there. Next, we'll have energy navigators. So these will be people who are working with program administrators to actually walk someone through. They figured out which program or which incentive they want. And now this is the person that will walk them through all the steps of the application if they need it, handling that personal information and helping them actually apply. And then there's, of course, the program administrator for the programs that have it, and they'll be the ones that are actually checking that eligibility and getting everything set up. So for our energy ambassadors, excuse me, we just trained our pilot cohort. They've wrapped up their training at early December of last year. So they've had about a month and a half now under their belt of being able to go out and speak with their community members about Virginia Energy Connect. During the trainings, they are free on-demand videos. There's 4 in total right now, each about 10 minutes each. Walking through different things from kind of the best ways to communicate all the way to a high-level overview of some of the main programs and clean energy incentives. So we're trying to make sure that they have the best resources and tools to help them as they're talking to their community members about this. And so right now, like I said, they're out there doing their outreach and education. We're meeting with them quarterly to kind of see what's it like out there on the ground? Are there any challenges they're running into? Are there any other ways that we can support them other than we have flyers and fact sheets and things like that that they're able to hand out, but what else would make them more successful? And then as we're collecting their feedback, we're going to be tweaking these trainings and opening it up, the Energy Ambassador program up on, open it up to the public probably in late Q2 or early Q3 of this year. As for the website, already went over pretty much all of this, but excited to say that our current step is finalizing our phase 2 launch. So this is going to have some really cool new features being rolled out. We will have educational pages that do a bit more of a deep dive than just the simple overview. What is energy efficiency? What is like distributed solar or EVs? We're providing an overview, especially looking at solar, like going into the details of what is shared solar versus net metering, what are the shared solar programs available, so that when people are trying to figure out which incentives they want, we have a place for that background knowledge. Another part, if you've seen the website so far, if you're playing around with it before the phase 2 launch, you'll see that a lot of that contractor information we have up right now, the pages say coming soon. This phase 2 launch will provide a lot of that material. So we'll have a clean energy careers page for anyone interested in joining. One, if they're looking to join just the kind of workforce for electricians, for plumbers, anything like from the ground up at that level, to even people who have maybe been an electrician for years, but they want to know, okay, these clean energy incentives or programs are out there. How can I get the skills and credentials to be able to participate in these programs? And so we'll be rolling out a training browser that will allow you to search. It'll look very similar to the incentives browser. It'll have the ability to kind of look through and see what trainings exist and if there are any financial assistance available for those. And then we will also have a more user-friendly version of the incentives browser. So we've used that stakeholder feedback since the launch, the soft launch back in July, to see exactly how we can make this easier for any person to go ahead and use it and not be confused and frustrated and just give up, because we want this to be something that people are actually using to become aware of these incentives, but to also actually be able to move through the process and access the savings. So that, I know I kind of flew through that, but I wanted to make sure we also had time for questions. So I'm happy to answer any if you have them.
Before we,
Yeah, I will.
oh, go ahead, Annette.
Oh, just wanted, with the energy ambassadors, who's the rep around this region, Charlottesville region?
Yeah, great question. And that'll actually be one of the things in the phase 2 launch too. We'll actually be listing the trained energy ambassadors who want their information out. We'll be listing them on the website, but we've been working with LEAP. So I know they're definitely part of it. The Energy Resource Hub, Rosina Snow there, she's become an energy ambassador. I'm likely forgetting one or two others. I think the pilot cohort has around 22 people from across the state, but I know those are the big ones in the Charlottesville, Albemarle area.
Yeah, I guess a related question. I mean, how do you coordinate with groups like the Energy Resource Hub? Because that's a pretty strong effort in this area.
Absolutely, yeah. They rolled out the Energy Resource Hub around the time little bit before we rolled out our soft launch, but we had been talking for months before when we were both still very much in the development phase. And we've been talking also with, I know Fairfax and a couple of other, Richmond, and some other localities have been interested in standing up something similar to the Energy Resource Hub. And that's one of those existing resources that we see as being really complementary. Obviously, they're on the ground in Charlottesville and Albemarle. They're going to be the expert on the local incentives there. And so if someone puts in Charlottesville or Albemarle into the incentives browser, the Energy Resource Hub will pop up as one of the incentives or programs for that individual to check out. That way we'll make sure that they're being directed to the most up-to-date information on those local incentives. But because we are focused also on utility, state-run programs, programs at the federal level, including like IRS, our list is a little bit more comprehensive on the larger scale, but Energy Resource Hub is more specific on the local scale.
Thank you. Can you give an example of what is a popular incentive that people are taking advantage of?
Yeah.
Well, can I just ask, related to that, I just went on the website and went through the little I'm a homeowner thing, and it pops up all the incentives that are currently in existence. And I know, some have gone away as far as the federal, but can we just go to the website? And it's very good because it shows you what does exist at this time. So
yeah,
is there a
yes.
link? Or can we link to the website here? Yeah. See if that works. Yeah, I just did that little exercise to see what was there.
And are y'all still seeing the slides, or are you now seeing the incentive browser?
We're seeing incentives browser, but I'm not sure you can manipulate it.
Okay,
Trying to connect. But
let me stop the share and move, because I think I only had it shared in the PowerPoint. So let me try.
I mean, it sounds like solar is pretty common. Solar incentives are pretty popular. What about like heat pumps?
Yeah, so
well, here we go. This is these are energy efficiency ones, right? This is all.
Well,
so see what
more should pop up as we input here. So you'll see the household income bracket changes depending on your household size, because it's based on any of the incentives that are available for lower income, generally 80% area median income. So that's why you'll see those change. I'll select both of these. Incentive type and covered benefits are automatically all of them applied, but like if you wanted just HVAC or just solar, you could search just those. But you'll see all of these coming up here.
I saw something about the basically about the Green Bank. Is that in operation actually? I thought that was just a proposal.
So the Virginia Clean Energy and Innovation Bank is up and operational. They've been going pretty strong since I think just last January. So they've hit their 1-year mark. That's not completely in my wheelhouse, and I can direct people to more information if they want it, but that is up and going, and they've been funding a lot of pretty cool projects.
I know there's
commercial. Is it commercial projects? I'm sorry, commercial projects?
It's largely commercial, yes.
Bigger project. Yeah.
I know there's legislation in this session on green banks. Is that just an expansion of the program?
I believe so. I'm not the, we have a whole policy team looking into all of the bills right now in the General Assembly, so I can't really speak to that. But I know they've been getting a lot of attention this past year, and I know there's a lot of bills that are looking into how they can be even better utilized.
Right.
Or more widely utilized.
I was remiss. I didn't ask you about your background. How did you get involved with in this field?
Sure. So my undergrad degree was in environmental science and geography, and then got my master's in environmental studies. So did initially a lot more work out in the field, doing like site assessments and such. But when I moved to Virginia, I was working with the Virginia Conservation Network, moved over to Virginia Energy Efficiency Council. So that between both of those jobs really started getting into energy policy. And then obviously at VAEC had much more of an energy efficiency focus. And I was there for 8 years before making the switch over to the state.
Great. How long have you worked with Katana, Luca?
We actually started on the same day, so October 2024.
Awesome.
I put the link to their website in the chat if anybody wants it.
Well, thank you.
Great. Yeah.
Any other questions for Jessica? This has been very helpful. And
Peter, I've got a question.
go ahead, James.
Yeah, Jessica, thank you for the presentation. I love the resource and everything that's being put together here. Are you doing any tracking? It's great to put this out, to have this entire infrastructure built. Do you have any benchmarks that you're trying to hit? How are you trying to assess the impact that this, this good construct might be having?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we're obviously in the works of tweaking the metrics just for the website itself of how many visits a day, what pages are getting the most clicks, metrics like that. When we are meeting with the energy ambassadors on a quarterly basis, we'll be getting any reports and updates on events they've held or number of people they've talked to, or if they've helped anyone working through the incentive browser. And then once certain programs are up and running, that we'll be working closely with the program administrators to see not only obviously how many people are applying to those programs, but figuring out how they're hearing about it and where they're coming from to even get to the application process.
Can I ask just a follow-on question quickly? I'm curious, is this, obviously there's been a good investment in setting this up and doing all this coordination. Is this all kind of discretionary funds within, the Department of Energy, or was this something specifically directed? It's related to the question about metrics. I'm just curious about, I think it looks like a very nice resource and program, just trying to understand about any future continuity. Does it depend on any of those metrics? Is it discretionary? Anything like that?
Sure. So the state received the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Block Grants, just like many of the localities across Virginia got their direct funding. 40% of the funding that we received federally for those grants went to setting this up, and is also going to be maintained through some other grants as well. So we didn't want this to just be something we set up and then it gets outdated very quick. So it is something that we want to keep seeing getting funded, getting maintained, moving forward. That will be dependent on whether or not it's through grants, if we're able to get some money to secure through the General Assembly, so that it's not grant dependent. But for now, we'll be able to keep it maintained for the foreseeable future. And then I'll just say, since I brought up Energy Efficiency and Conservation Block Grants, the other 60% of the money that came to the state, we awarded to 11 localities across the Commonwealth for formula funding for competitive funding for energy efficiency and conservation block grants. And so they're just getting going on their projects now, and they're using it for energy conservation, marketing education and outreach, as well as offering free energy audits in their communities, and some are doing energy auditor training as well.
Are the utilities involved at all?
And the audits are
or just in working on incentives?
Yeah, I know for some of the localities, at least, they were going to be the specific localities, not coming to mind at the moment, but they're working closely with Appalachian Power's Take Charge program for a lot of their marketing.
And is there any involvement of RGGI funding? Or has it? I mean, let's assume that Virginia successfully re-enters RGGI. Any funding from that source?
Not for this program, no.
Okay, that's more low-income weatherization type program. Okay.
And Jessica, we talked about the federal funding that got, cut on the Inflation Reduction Act and other big pockets of money that came to the states and then have been pulled back. So there was the anticipation that there'd be kind of more to put in this, but now that's on hold, and perhaps permanent hold. We don't know, right, at this point.
Yeah, so Solar for All was going to be some of the funding to help maintain this program. We did get our termination letter from EPA, so we had to pivot a bit. We are still waiting on the home energy rebates, the Homes in Here programs. We remain optimistic about that. We've been conditionally approved. We've turned in all of our application materials that were requested, and we're just waiting to hear. And there has been movements in other states. So while we don't have a time frame for when those programs we can get the conditions removed and actually start to launch them, we are moving forward. We have the funds for the planning process and have been moving forward in the planning.
Diane, you had a question?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hi, Jessica. Yeah, as others have said, this is a great website and a really nice resource for people to go to. I was wondering, what is your strategy for getting people to use the website? I mean, your outreach, in addition to you talking to groups like us, how are you driving people to see what these incentives are?
Sure. So for now, this is kind of like the stage one outreach and marketing. So it is doing events like this, working with the energy ambassadors to get them trained so that they're telling the people that they're meeting with on a day-to-day basis about it, and hopefully holding some of their own events or workshops to bring details into more people. We have set up an outreach plan for this year of reaching out to libraries, to senior centers, seeing if there's places where we can just put up flyers about it, along with the agency's social media. And then further down the line, we do have plans in place to hire a contractor to help with a lot of the marketing and education outreach efforts.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Sure. And I do really recommend everyone to play around with it, especially the incentives browser, with the caveat that in about another week or two, I think there'll be some really good changes that you'll see to make it even more user-friendly and easier to navigate.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Jessica. Any other questions for Jessica? Well, terrific. I just want to thank you again. I want to thank Annette for helping to coordinate this presentation as well, and getting Jessica to appear. Really appreciate it. I know we know you had to jump through a couple hoops to meet with us, and we're grateful for it. Thank you.
I just gave my kids some extra TV time, so they're grateful.
Appreciate your taking some evening time to do this, Jessica. Thanks
Sure.
so much.
Thank you for the time.
It's a great resource. It's a very good resource. So we hope it gets populated with even more, incentives after
Yes.
the General Assembly and whatever.
Right.
So we'll see what happens there. Thank you.
Absolutely. And if you have any feedback or changes that you think would be helpful to it, don't hesitate to contact me. We want to make it as user-friendly and as beneficial as possible.
Great.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Mhm.